Who is the one team, the top team in the NFC, doesn't want to face Key when it matters the most in the postseason?
I think it's the Rams. I think that's who the Saints would I mean, they obviously would love to play them and get revenge from a couple years ago when, the pass interference that wasn't, and they went ahead and went to the Super Bowl for that. But I think it's the Rams. Sean McVay's 3-1 since becoming the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams against Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints. And so even when you look at my real rankings, it's not based on the records. It's based on what I see and how those teams are playing that day and at that moment. Can they beat that team that's in front of them or behind them? So it's like when I see the Rams last night, so much was made of Tampa Bay and that offense and all the pretty names and all the different things that come with that. But when I look at the Rams and their defense, they took care of business. They handed even with the catches that Antonio Brown had as well as Mike Evans, wasn't impactful. Mike Evans wasn't like it just took over the game. And so the numbers were not glaring. They were not gaudy. It was just like, okay, they're catching a bunch of 5-yard passes. We'll give them that all day long. The Rams knew that. And then on the offensive side, as long as Jared Goff doesn't turn into a pumpkin, then I think that the Rams offensively will continue to move, because every now and then he'll do some head-scratching stuff that'll make you go, man, what the hell are you doing? Right. What are you doing? You know better than this. I mean, it's just like the screen. He didn't see JPP, but he wound up throwing the screen a pick. And then somebody, they text me, they go, this dude threw a pick to a dude that was messing around with firecrackers.
Right.
Like, what? Like, hello? And that's how you think about Jared Goff. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, the Rams will be in perfect shape to take on New Orleans in the NFC Championship game.
Jay, before we get to your thoughts, just a reminder for those that don't recall, JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, fearsome member of the Bucs defense. And yes, he did have a fireworks mishap right around the July 4th holiday a few years ago. It was very serious, actually, but he's bounced back in a very big way. But that is a very good example of one thing Goff needs to work on. But it may not be much after last night. 39 for 51, 376, 3 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, 11 grabs. Robert Woods, 10 grabs. And we thought Brady was the quarterback that was going to have the pass catchers on his side last night. Want to quickly mention who's the one team the Saints don't want to face in the playoffs. Key's pretty clear. He has chosen the Rams. We want to hear from you on the Dr. Pepper call-in line, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Or if it's easier, take out the phone, KJZ on Twitter. Who's the one team the Saints don't want to face in the playoffs? We got Key's answer. We want your answer. Jay, what's your answer?
Well, first off, Key, there's no need for the JPP slight. He was a giant during that time. Still troubled memories for myself. Wanted to say that. Moving on from that, I would say that, look, I'm with you on the Rams. We've talked about mostly the consistency of Jared Goff would be the answer. Last night, he looked really good down the stretch. The only other team, like Seattle's defense, I don't trust. Tampa Bay, they're there, but I mean, we saw what happened last night, and we've seen what happens against the Saints. The Saints just dominate them. But it would have to be Green Bay, just because of Aaron Rodgers. And Key, you and I have talked about this because I've been a huge thing on, who have they played, and I know we can make that narrative for a lot of NFL teams. It just feels like, though, down the stretch, if Aaron Rodgers, with the weapons he's been able to have, and I know MVS has gone through some pretty horrible texts and threats from people concerning that last game against the Colts. And I know that the Colts defense shut them down to only 3 points in the second half. But still, you would have to bet some money on Aaron Rodgers just because his ability to make magic happen. And with Devontae Adams and company, with the way they play, with how they can put up points, they will have to be a formidable opponent as well for the Saints.
When you think about it, fellas, it simply just comes down to this. The group is very, very small. I think yesterday's question was, who is the one team that the Chiefs don't want to face? And there was a lot of people that weighed in with Pittsburgh, and there were some people like Key that weighed in with the Raiders. I think this group is a little bit larger because, to Jay's point, you get Aaron Rodgers on the right day. Yeah, sure, he wasn't great on Sunday, but you get him on the right day, Green Bay's as potent as anybody. You get Russell Wilson from the first 5 games of this season when the Seahawks went 5-0 for the first time in franchise history. They're capable of beating anybody. I mean, honestly, you just take out the NFC East winner, And I think the Saints would be wise to
NFC
be
East winner. You mean my Giants?
Your Giants from 1-7 to the playoffs. But I think there's a handful of teams here that could really do some damage. I guess at this point, I would have to, even though you've said it takes a lot to beat a team 3 times, I guess at this particular point, after looking at the sample size, I probably would have to take the Bucs out of it at this point.
Well, yeah, look, you do have to take the Bucs out. I don't think, and I was one that never thought that the Bucs were just this super team that was like going to just roll through everybody just because Tom Brady left New England and went to Tampa and Gronkowski came with him. I understand the sexiness of it. I understand how people get excited about those things, Zubin, but so much has to gel and come together in a short period of time for you to be effective, where the New Orleans Saints, they've been together the entire time. There was no change there. They didn't lose anything dramatic. They didn't gain anything dramatic. It's like, okay, we got Malcolm Jenkins over from the Philadelphia Eagles, but okay, he's been here before. He knows our system. He knows what we're about. Same thing with the Rams. There was nothing glaring changes that went on, right? The majority of their players were intact. Seattle's players, the majority of those guys were intact. Mid-year, they go out and they get a Jamal Adams. They go out and get a Dunlap, Carlos Dunlap. But they're starting to get into the fold, as you can clearly see against the Arizona Cardinals. They took care of business. Now they're in it. They're in the rhythm. They understand how to walk in the building, what freeway to drive on. There's no mystery there now. And so when you look at that, that's why I got those type of teams at the top of the heap. And then when you talk about Kansas City on that side of the track with the AFC, the reason I say the Raiders is because the Raiders know them. It's the division. I understand what your tendencies are. You could easily say Pittsburgh because they're a really good football team and they're well coached and they're undefeated.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.